Welcome to the Q series on the Sixth Suite. I'm Nikki Stone, here with Clare Ravenstreet, and for this special run, we're coming to you straight from Cannes.
Usually, we're unpacking the architecture of business and media, but this week, things are moving fast. We're cutting through the noise of the Croisette to bring you exactly what you need to know.
We're dropping a special Cannes wrap-up of the highest signal insights, biggest shifts, and straight talk from the ground.
You won't want to miss a beat. Hit subscribe and follow right now so the latest intel lands directly in your feed.
And while we're here celebrating the peak of the industry, we're also dedicating this series to the people who build it. That's why we're proudly raising awareness for NABS, the National Advertising Benevolent Society.
NABS is the vital safety net for Canadian media and advertising professionals, providing everything from financial assistance to mental wellness support when our community needs it most.
We've linked them in the show notes below, so please take a minute to learn more and support their mission. Now, let's start the clock.
Welcome to our edition of the Sixth Suite in Cannes. We are joined by our lovely friends from Locala, Hadrien and Grant. If you guys want to introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Hadrien from Locala Canada. I'm the managing director. And
I'm Grant Gudgel, and I am the new CMO of Locala. I've been here 3 months, so it's still very fresh, but loving my time.
yeah. And I'm not that fresh, 11 years.
Love that. Welcome to the Sixth Suite. Thank you so much for joining us, and especially now in Cannes. We'd love to get your first general impressions of being here.
Yeah, it's complicated to say because first it's the beginning of the weekend. So far, I had some conversation with some different partners. I think it's more and more challenging to understand actually what people are really doing with AI to cut the bullshit. And after to really understand how you can activate AI. Actually, this time, I think we are the one really bringing something new in the conversation with our new positioning. Grant joined Locala 3 months ago, and we are doing a new rebranding and a new way to pitch Locala. And basically to use AI to make the bridge between insight and activation something concrete, you know. So my goal this year is really to see if we are the only one going in this direction, really to talking about something concrete and not something vague about AI, because sometimes I'm a bit lost when people are pitching, and when you start to ask very direct questions and they don't reply, you are just wondering, is it just a new company, leverage AI without building really AI, using Claude or stuff like that, finding some prompt, creating agents. So I think it's a big challenge this week. Sorry if I was a bit like French and, and
that was
honest
you
and
know
direct.
What? We love the French. Actually, it's a great transition for us.
Love that. And especially now, obviously, in Cannes. What have you found exciting? What have you found intelligent? What you've seen so far?
I mean, this is actually my 8th Cannes, so I feel like I've seen a lot of the things. Yeah, no, I think that, you know, it's Cannes is always just a whirlwind of activity. There's so much going on, so many different things. And I think, you know, as somebody coming in from a marketing role, thinking about Cannes and like what types of activations work, what is actually impactful and intelligent. I think that just my favorite thing here are the one-on-one conversations that you have with people. I was at a lunch earlier today with 30 individuals talking about their businesses, AI, what's impacting things. And I think that those one-on-one kind of individual intimate settings are my favorite thing about Cannes. And I think that's where you hear the smartest thing. I think the most interesting conversations don't happen on a panel, except for this conversation.
We don't count this as a panel, it's fine.
So that sort of is a great tee up. If the most intelligent thing that you're seeing is one-on-one, what is the most sort of contextually relevant things that you've seen so far?
I mean, the big conversation here is obviously AI. Everybody's talking about agents. It's kind of the buzzword. We're in I think from you know, earlier in the decade, we were in the year of mobile for 10 years, and I think we're now clearly in the 10-year of AI. I think that the most savvy or contextually relevant things that I've heard have been people who are looking at really specific, discrete applications of AI. I think it's really easy for people to get on stages and talk about buzzwords, but I've seen a few really cool, just interesting things that people are doing with it, and I think that that's the context we're in. We're in the era of AI.
I know we were talking earlier and you had mentioned the Beck side of NABS and some of the involvement that you've had with the organization.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually, I'm French. I'm living in Canada for 8 years, and I'm very happy to be back in my country, even if I'm the only one speaking French here. I was able to compare the industry in 3 different markets because I used to work in France, in Paris, and the media agency world is very, very different with Canada. But in the meantime, I went to London. And first in London, I was happy because they were like the equivalent of the NABS. And it was really new for me to have like the kind of the summer ball, the Christmas ball. And it was as well a way to do some charity and funds for nice stuff. And so when I moved to Canada, to Montreal, I've discovered like so it's a different name. It's called the Bec. And I started with Volleybec, which is like a big beach volley tournament with all the media agencies. And it was fantastic for me because I just moved to Canada. It was my first time ever in Canada. I didn't know anyone. So I had to build a huge network. It was a kind of incredible accelerator. And you see that you have all the big agencies, Touche, OMD. It was fantastic. And after, le ballon noir. Yeah. So I start to behold when I go to nightclub, I think it's really boring, except le ballon noir, because I know everyone and because I don't pay, of course. So during a few years, it was missing something with the Bec. So the Bec is coming back.
It's
stronger,
coming back stronger.
And
back office is so great.
It's fantastic. It's really fantastic.
I really love, thank you so much for sharing that because it's just a true testament as to like the amazing work that NABS does in our communities to really support our community because it's not just about having your 6 like when you're down and out. It's also about having your 6 so that they can help raise you up even amongst all the chaos and life transition moments. Those are really big moments of chaos. And so that pretty much wraps us up. We have only one more question for you guys. And that is we ask every guest this. So if you will please entertain us, but not for wealth, not for health, not for business, but for life. If you had one piece of life advice, what would that be for our Sixers?
So me, it's a bit like, it's super, super personal, but I want to give hope because I'm sure that this week is fantastic. We are in the best town of the world this week. A lot of smart people, a lot of money, everything is doing well, nice weather, etc. But I'm sure my life can be very nice and my life can be a bit dark sometimes. My son is autistic. But my point is that I had a very, very good news last month because basically we have decided to do homeschooling for 1 year because I think that the school was not good for my son. And finally, we were able to find a new school for him, very perfect for him, like a regular school with a dedicated class for him. And I just want to say that it was a lot of work, a lot of hope. Keep fighting. And yes, and I want to say thank you to my wife because honestly, she was like handling 90% of the pressure, etc. And it's a great achievement. And so just keep fighting. Really.
Yeah, mine is actually related to what you said. So my kind of guiding principle now has become this idea of not confusing optionality or keeping options with freedom. So I think that life is defined by the commitments that we make, and we always make commitments with imperfect information. So if we try to keep all of our options open, ultimately we confuse that with freedom. We think that, by keeping my options open, whether it's creatively, whether it's in our relationships, we're actually missing out on the types of commitments that actually give life texture and meaning. And so that's one that I've just been thinking about a lot recently.
I like it.
And, you have obviously are in that situation. The meaning that you described is coming from the commitments that you've made, and I have a lot of respect for that, and I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you guys so much. I love that feedback.
Well, that's it. Thank you so much for being in the suite with us. Enjoy Cannes. If you've pulled value from this quick hit, we want to hear from you.
This entire series is about showing where business is going and dropping life advice genuinely worth sharing. If today's wrap-up gave you a new perspective, send this episode to 3 people you want to see succeed.
And we want to keep the conversation going in the comments, so drop your absolute best piece of life advice below. What's the one rule that you operate by?
Subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you for the next Cannes Dispatch on the 6th Suite.